I've analyzed creators making 6 and 7 figures over across 40 industries, if not more, and today I'm going to show you 5 tactics they consistently use to guarantee performance in their content, to make prospects, and to build a client pipeline that fills their calendars while they sleep. And I'm going to show you how to do the exact same thing. So first thing they do is they do market research before creating anything. So you have 3 audiences when you create a video. You have your core, you have your casual, and you have your broad. Now, who is your core? Your core is the people who watch your videos the most. Casual are people who watch some of your videos, and broad are interested in the broad overarching niche or topic that you're talking about. For example, let's say I'm selling headphones. My core audience will be people in the IT space who work in IT who need headphones with a microphone in them. My casual audience would be those that are interested in gaming headphones or headphones that they use for gaming that it doesn't require 8 hours that they'll be gaming for, since this won't be their job. At least I hope not, but it has a mic and just something they'd be interested in. And broad, pretty much anybody who needs a pair of headphones would be my broad audience there. So once you answer these questions of who is your core, who's your casual, and who's your broad, you need to find out what's the transformation they want most. So for example, let's go ahead and go for red here. The transformation they want most is from having no headphones to 1 headphone, let's say. So the transformation they want is they're not going to be able to hear. Now they're able to hear. They're not going to be able to speak clearly because this microphone, let's say, has the best quality mic in existence. It's like really a cheap set of headphones. But let's say that they want to hear and they want people to hear them. Now, what's at stake if they don't achieve it? Well, exactly that. People won't be able to hear them, and they won't be able to hear or communicate with others in their work or in their gaming or just in anything they're thinking about doing. So are they aware of their pain? Most definitely. People realize if they can't hear or if they can't be heard. So what or does your product or service actually alleviate the pain? In this case with the headphones, absolutely. If no, then no YouTube leads will be qualified. If yes, then your niche is validated and you want to define your unfair advantage. Now your unfair advantage is what you have over your competition, at least most of your competition. For example, let's say access. Let's say I have access to hundreds of thousands of headphones exactly like these. I could be in rooms with people who have created the best of headphones and stuff like that. In terms of knowledge, let's say I know a lot about headphones in general. It's like, oh, you need this mic. You need to be able to hear this amount of bass at this frequency. In regards to skill, let's say I'm very skillful at creating headphones. And then personality driven is kind of more of a amplifier to these 3. But this is kind of more for entertainment, where if I was an entertainment niche, then yeah, my personality in regards to who I am as a person would be valued in that niche. So you want to make sure that whatever your unfair advantage is, it is your differentiator. And you want to make sure that it's validated, or that your niche is validated, that it's not too narrow and it's not too broad. So if a pond doesn't have enough fish, then you're not going to be able to get more than, let's say, 5, 10 fishes, fish plural, whatever that is. Or let's say if you have 1,000,000 fish in a pond, but there's 1,000,000 other people who are looking to get a fish as well. So you're probably max going to come up with maybe 1, maybe 2. So that's what it means there. Now the next tactic is they find content around proven outliers. So what does that mean? What is an outlier? When an outlier is, let's say a video has 100 views per video of the past 10, but one of them has 10,000. Well, therefore that one is an outlier. And how do you spot outliers? Well, you can spot them just using your eyes really, but the best tools are vidIQ and 1 of 10. 1 of 10 is used for outliers. That's why it's called 1 of 10. And then once you find your outlier, you want to identify why that outlier worked. You don't just want to copy it and paste it onto your niche, because it won't make much sense if you found that outlier in a niche that doesn't exactly provide value to your audience. So you want to extract the logic. Is it the presenter? Is that the reason the video did well? Is it the structure of the video? Is it the psychological trigger? Is it something that created a question in the person's mind? Or is it the video format? For example, how I made 10,000 a month in 60 days. Is that format what made it successful? Or is it because the video was done by Elon Musk, let's say? And then you want to adapt it to your niche. So you want to make sure the idea is relevant to your niche and that you want to understand the outlier tactics. And this is very much something you need to consider, that 1 hour of ideation beats 10 hours of editing. So this is insanely valuable stuff that you could do. Leverage is getting more for what you get put in, and this is exactly that. A weak idea, you need to be aware of this, sets a low ceiling for your video. No amount of polish, no amount of video editing, no amount of thumbnail design or intrigue packaging could ever do or set up a video better than a good idea can. I guess it's the best way of putting it. The third tactic is they place strategic CTAs in the middle, not the end. Now, it's a bit interesting because I have 2 CTAs for my videos, and how I like to do this for my clients is in the middle or near the middle, and we'll get into this shortly. In the middle, there's a CTA on to get them either to subscribe or to get them to buy your product or service, whichever is more important, if you want people to follow you or if you want people to buy your product or service, which is usually the latter. And then the end of the video, the last 10 to 20 seconds, is to get them simply to watch another video of yours. And we'll get more into that. So in terms of the mid video placement, let's say I have 5 steps, which I'm doing here. My CTA would be at step 3 or step 4. Now this is for a place where it has high retention and that trust is built. If you do it too early, then the retention is high. You have a lot of people, but no trust has been built. If you do it too low, then maybe the retention is a little bit lower than we like it, but there's a lot of trust built. You want to find the perfect in between there. In terms of your CTA formula, and this is regarding pretty much both the middle and the end CTA, you want to connect it to your current topic. You don't just want to be like, hey, by the way, buy my stuff. You want to explain why the video is incomplete without your product, without your service, without subscribing, without watching the next video. So you want to explain that, and then you want to promise specific tangible value of what they'll get by doing what you're asking them to. So watch this video about how to get 100 million clients on YouTube, because without that, then you can't apply this properly, for example. So, and that's why it's key to understand, right, of doing your market research, because you want to understand their desires, their fears, and their motivations, because this triggers words in their mind, which allows you to create the CTA and make it a lot more valuable and pretty much do what you want them to do. And with the CTA at the end there, you also want to include a guarantee, any guarantees you have in your offer, a value stack, any testimonials or market positioning that you have. You can incorporate that in your mid CTA. I don't know why it says, oh yeah, your CTAs need to be less than 10 seconds. I feel like that should be obvious. You don't want a CTA over, let's say 5 minutes will be crazy, over 30 seconds, because then it's just too much. You see people skipping. Your retention will pretty much look like this. This is the intro, then people skipping, and then you see a spike right here. Right here is where people skip, that you do not want that. That tells YouTube that this was not a good place people were interested in and will hurt your video retention, hurting your video in the process and not getting in front of as many eyes as we like. So they make the CTAs feel like progress, not some sort of persuasion. Next is that they use shorts as a bridge to long form content. Now I don't see a lot of creators using shorts the way it should be used. So for example, we all know is a low RPM for ads. What does that mean? Is that you're not going to be paid amazingly for ads. This should not be a way of, getting, monetary value for this. It is a discovery engine and an awareness driver. We could think of it like an ad, right? You can place an ad for awareness, to get conversions. Shorts are more for awareness than it is to convert people from viewers to clients. You're trying to get the viewers, that awareness from those shorts, to your video where you're going to convert them to. And that's what we're having here, right? You want to create some sort of curiosity and traffic to that short to go into your monetized long form videos, because that's the goal. We're not trying to convert them in the YouTube short. You don't want to have any sort of CTA in them about subscribe or go visit your product or your service. We just want to get them to click on the video. Now, the best way to do that is you don't want to tell them to go ahead and look for the video themselves, because they're more than likely not going to do that. There's way too much work. You want to tell them to click the related video feature. Now, you don't want to explicitly say use the related video feature, but you do want to point below, because that'll have, let's say this is the phone right here. It is going to have it right here, right below the title. So if they just click on that, it'll lead to your long form video, and that goes into your viewership and goes right into the long form video, as I just said. Now, in order to get viral shorts, let's see what I have here. Let's say you get 1 million views. that video will probably drive 1,000 to 50,000 high quality viewers, go into your long form, and then convert those viewers to clients practically. Now you want to make sure that you maintain niche consistency. You don't want to create views or create shorts that are different than your long form, because remember, we're trying to transition those two. It's got to be a nice transition. Whatever video you do with the related video feature, you want to make sure that it's well related, that it's not just something completely on the opposite, or else that's going to hurt your retention, because they're just going to end up clicking off like, what did I just sign up to? Now there are a few shorts rules, so you want to make sure you hook them in the first 1 to 30 seconds, that there's no dead air, no fluff, no anything, and that it is loop friendly. It has a loop friendly ending, so that way you get 100% retention. Now what do I mean by that? Well, I mean, let's say you watch a short and then you watch it again a half a time. So that is 1.5, right, times. That is 150% retention. The reason we want a loop friendly ending is so that way, either it's by accident or on purpose, you want to have it. So they watch it for that 150%, maybe that's more like 120% to be realistic, but that sends a message to the algorithm that, hey, people really like this video, that they even surpassed the retention mark. Now, you never find this on long form videos, but with shorts, it is totally possible, and it's perfect to get your shorts to that million view range that we want. So next, and our final tactic, is they actually use analytics to iterate and improve. So you want to use your analytics, be kind of like a scientist when it comes to your YouTube videos. So your main focus, the main metrics, statistics that you should be looking at is your CTR, which is your packaging, your title and thumbnail, your impressions, which is your idea quality, and your retention AVD, which is your hook and structure. So those should be the 3 metrics you pretty much look at. Now I look at a lot more, but if you just want to concise them down, these are the best 3 that you should look at. Now it's important to understand the relationship that these metrics have. Let's say you have, let's see, do I have this here? You have a strong CTR and retention but limited impressions. It means the idea set the floor too low, or packaging didn't raise the ceiling enough. Again, the floor of your video is your idea. Your idea sets the floor, and your packaging sets the ceiling. That's how I kind of like to think of it. And then your retention AVD is what allows that to go up here or down here pretty much. So you want to diagnose why a video did or didn't perform the way you wanted it to. For example, let's say you have a low CTR, which is around below the 8% mark. So anywhere below 8%, then you need to fix your packaging. If it has an early retention drop, like your retention graph kind of looks like this, it goes all the way down, then that means, I wouldn't necessarily say the hook. Let's say this is 30 seconds in, then everyone dropped, then this is more so you're not creating enough setup, enough tension, and a good payoff when it comes to the keys and facts and principles that you reveal. If it is not a good hook, then you should see, because not many people are going to even get to, it's actually going to slide off even more. So let's say this is more like 10 seconds in, and you still haven't finished your hook and you see this drop off, then your hook was really bad. Now, if you have a mid video drop, then that's what I mean. You want to remove the fluff or the dead air in there and create more valuable content, I suppose, that what your audience is expecting. You also want to make sure that you track your leads. This is incredibly important. You want to track every video by how many leads this is getting you. So you could use some sort of UTM tracking software or application or website. I use dub.co to track every video and how many clicks it's getting onto my Calendly page. So feel free to book a Calendly call with me. It's completely free. We can discuss anything regarding your YouTube channel, and it'll ask you some questions, and we'll see if we're a right fit together. But anyways, you want to track the links. So you want to see how many viewers, or you'll see how many viewers this is because of the video, because you'll see, I don't know, 100,000 views, let's say, but how many of those viewers actually clicked your profile or clicked on where you want to click on, whether that was your product, whether that was your service, or whether that was the YouTube page or anything like that. So if you use how you reach, Belize tell you if you reach the right audience for your business. So again, it's very key. You need to track stuff. It is very, very key. And the next thing is to iterate. You want to go off the data, not feelings. Even though you spent an hour on a hook, but it just didn't do well, then that was, I wouldn't say a waste of an hour, because you learned but now you got to do something. Now you got to iterate now. So you could use feelings, but as long as it leads back to data, then it's good. If that feelings leads to iteration, that leads to more feelings, and then leads to more feelings, it's just not going to go anywhere. If your video underperforms, then you have a broken part, and you need to identify that broken part. There's the ideation, there's packaging, there's the hook, there's the structure, and there's the CTA. So you need to find out what that is and fix it for your next video, which is very important, of ideation, or iteration, I should say. So that is pretty much all the steps. However, if you don't have an audience, that is no problem. Subscribers aren't a definite, you don't have to have subscribers in order to get leads on YouTube. But I'm going to show you here a video on how you can do so even if you have 0 subscribers. See ya.